後よりマックス山彦号仙台行き福島を出ますと、白石田を12時5分、終点仙台12時21分、マックス山彦号の終点仙台12時21分とご到着です。車内のご案内とお願いです。先頭の車両17号車、一番後ろの車両は1号車です。後より1号車から8号車、後より8両2階建ての車両、マックス山彦243号仙台行きです。前より11号車から17号車、前より7両、翼248号、山形新庄です。マックス山彦号仙台行き自由席は後より
all the pine trees along the shoreline were destroyed. The tsunami came as far as the town hall here. Everyone was moved in June from the evacuation center to the temporary housing. The people from Soma are in prefab housing, and those who were evacuated from the exclusion zone in individually built wooden temporary houses. There are 1,500 units of temporary housing in Soma City, with 3,000 people living in them. That is really difficult. There are 51 children who lost one or both parents. Every month, we are giving 30,000 yen to each child for their support. This will continue until they are 18 years old. We have received a great deal of support in money, materials, and people from national government, but the timing of the nuclear problem has made things very difficult. For the recovery of our community, we need to have a plan for everyone, small children, young people, old people, in order that their lives can be restored. The character of Japanese people is all or nothing. We are intending to take it step by step, but we are going to undertake testing and show people that it is safe to eat our produce as we go along. We have 800 evacuees from Ridate and 300 from Minamisoma in the nuclear exclusion zone, living in the temporary housing in Soma. 40% of the evacuees from the exclusion zone have gone to live outside the prefecture, so only 60% remain. Some people are angry. Some people are disappointed. There are all sorts of feelings. For me, all the pleasures of family life that I have had until now have been destroyed. We brought up our children and create a life for ourselves. Even if we can ever return to our home, I doubt whether we can recreate that life. My son has small children, and we were worried to return. His generation wouldn't wish to because of fears for the health of those children. It is a worst case scenario.
survey with the five organisations they work with.
の連携復興センターと被災地に来ている
NGO さんもあれば地元のちっちゃな NGO、ちっちゃなNPO だったり市民活動があったんですけれども、やっぱり地元の小さな団体っていうのは私
がこれをまとめて編集して
damage doesn't look so great.
で、あとは2番目そのシンポジウム、まちづくりですね。まちづくりで今
本当は僕じゃなくて子供たちがミサンガマックっていう
リバイバルプラン、そこに住民の声がきちんと反映させられるように住民の方々にワークショップを提供、
So you come from Chiba?
Yeah.
So you're going to be here for some time?
Well, for at least the end of the
fiscal year,
Right.
financial year.
Yeah, so till March.
March.
Anyway.
Well, but I feel that I need to stay longer because
Yes.
there are thousands of problems,
Yes.
especially focusing on the temporary housing. So I might stay longer.
Our evacuation center was comparatively comfortable. But at the end of March, we heard how bad some other evacuation centers were, without water or electricity, so we gathered information about what was lacking and needed. We gathered leaders of the evacuation center, we exchanged information, and we found that there were some centers where they had too much of some supplies or lacked others or information on whether they could get hold of things that were needed and what organizations were doing what. In our center, we had daily meetings from 8 o'clock in the evening. In our case, the evacuation center was the gymnasium of a school, but in other they lived in classrooms. People had lost all confidence and couldn't make decisions. They had started to think, we are evacuees, this should be done for us. An environment of dependency was created. If you go to the temporary housing, you will see with your own eyes how much people suffer. My activities began with my thinking that I must do something to support the communities in the temporary housing. We are not doing anything terribly complicated at this point. We just want to help people to get to know their neighbors. For example, the Ministry of Labor, Health and Welfare arranges for Kanagawa to connect with Iwate or Tokyo to Fukushima. It is quite difficult for volunteers to be accepted into Fukushima because of the radiation fears, so most volunteers come to Iwate or Miyagi. Tono City, from which it is easy to access the coastal area, has been used as a base for NPOs and NGOs. The city authorities offered Iwate as an information and nerve center. First of all, there was the self-defense forces, then there were the NGOs, and lastly, the work is focused on helping local people, and we are working to provide volunteers for the work. When the tsunami happened, every area was hit. Many of our network were victims. I myself lost my own house and my car. As a local NPO, we couldn't just stand by and watch. So we began to be an information center, informing people of what was going on through Facebook and Twitter and helping to direct the available help as required to the different areas. One of the things that I believe is that most important thing for recovery is to make people have the feeling that recovery is possible. And we are planning and preparing many ways of helping people settle into their lives in the temporary housing.
How is life in what just has been like this? Yeah. Now, for you?
Reconstruction.
No, both physical and
Yeah.
and how are people, you know, have people lost their jobs through all of this?
And day-to-day life, living 56 kilometres from,
Yeah.
well, today's Sunday the 11th of September. It's exactly 6 months since the quake. The sort of damage from the earthquake, a lot of buildings are being pulled down. The damage from the earthquake is kind of getting back to normal. The radiation, it's the radiation. We live with this radiation every day. The government hasn't given us any good guidelines. We don't know yet about the new recovery. There's nothing happening about recovery yet. And we've just got a new government, so hopefully things are going to start going. But at the moment, nothing is happening.
So everybody's very nervous about the food they eat.
Yeah.
Are they nervous about being outside?
27,000 people have left Fukushima since the earthquake. 8,000 of them children.
Out of a population of...
It's the population of the prefecture has gone under. It's just under 2 million now.
Right.
And it went under 2 million for the first time in 33 years because it had been growing rapidly.
Right.
Because we're in a good position. We're very close to Tokyo.
Yes.
But
And people have just left.
8,000 children have left. And it is the children. Everybody's worried about the children, about the radiation. We're not happy with the government standards. They put in in a hurry. They put in what they call provisional safety standards. They're too high, especially for children. Because the problem now is, at the beginning, it was the radiation in the air. And after the explosions, but that settled down. So the radioactive particles are now in the soil, and the radiation that we're getting in the air now is kind of reflection from what's in the ground. So we look in the paper every day, and if there's a wind, you don't let children outside. You wear a mask on windy days, because the windy days, it's kind of invisible dust, I suppose.
Yes.
So it stirs up the dust. So that's what we're worried about, especially for children. And children are, they're lower down on the ground.
Yes.
And they put their hands on places that they shouldn't touch. They play in puddles, they touch the grass. All these places are where this radioactive particles are gathered. So it's very worrying. I wouldn't like to be a young mother. I really wouldn't.
And then what about people? I mean, many people have had to move out of their housing because some of the housing. Not many houses actually in the town here collapsed, did they? But many were deemed to be unsafe.
Yeah, not a lot of people. In our company there are 100 people, and 2 people lost their houses.
Right.
And they were old houses that they haven't spent any money on for a long time. So in a way it was kind of.
How many are not living in their houses now because they're deemed unsafe?
Only there's two
Only
families.
the two.
Families that I know of. So
Right.
most people have carried on. The main thing is you'll find, you'll be working, you'll be talking to somebody, and he looks young, and you'll say, I'm married, the kids. So where are your kids? Oh, they're in Akita. They've gone back to they're in Yokohama. So a lot of men are here working, but their wives and children were sent somewhere else. Yeah, there's a lot there. Yeah.